the thing that I keep trying to say whenever I get a chance to speak, outside of friendly groups like you, is that children are a special group. Children are not like adults, they don't see the world like adults, and they need special protection. Because it's just like I can't take on capitalism. I'd love to, but I can't. I personally can't take on even violence in the film industry. I'd love to, but I can't. So I'm picking my place, and where I'm picking is children are a special interest group, and they need to be protected. And so I can think of a lot of ways that I think specific steps I think we can take to do that. I also was happy to hear Alan talk about the history a bit this morning, which I also was reflecting on last night. Because during that time, like in the early 1930s, when it's phenomenal when you think about it, the public airwaves got given to private interests. They got given away to corporations. So the public airwaves are ours. And they were given away, and there was that time of debate. And one of the greatest educators I've ever admired, John Dewey, said then that that giving away the private airwaves to public airwaves to private interest is going to undo democracy. And that's what, there were wise people then who knew what would happen, and that's what we see. But the thing is, at that time, the Federal Communications Commission was created to protect the public interest if the marketplace didn't. And there were decades of regulations that were protecting children from some important things, like marketing any toys or commercial items directly linked to TV. It's kind of hard to believe, but right up until the mid-'80s, that was illegal. And I remember when Diane Levin and I started doing our research on this, sitting in the library and reading the FCC briefs. And they said right there, we have to keep it illegal to market any toy or product directly with a TV show because that would commercialize media. And that was all they said because they assumed that was inherently a bad thing. And if you think about it now, we have such a commercialized culture. It's so saturated with ads and commerce and all kinds of pushing products on everybody all the time that it's phenomenal how fast that has changed, and that the idea that that regulation was going to be a part of the way that you'd keep things fair and democratic has actually been turned around now to be equated to censorship in such a short period of time. So there's something about that we have to unpack and be able to talk about better. I don't know how to do it yet, but we've got to figure that out. So here are the regulations that I think we need now. I mean, maybe this can be done better and maybe someone has suggestions, but so far this is the way I'm doing it. One, to regulate advertising, just like the APA says, no ads for kids under 8. They make a good rationale. You can make a good cognitive rationale for kids can't understand persuasive intent earlier than that. Yes, it's true that children are different and develop cognitively different, but you can make a solid argument about that. That idea that you couldn't have ads for children until they're 8 would be a profound, profound change in breaking the vicious cycle of promoting capitalist values of greed and self-promotion and competition and power. Because children are seeing messages about those values from the time they're born now. And the emerging field of neuroscience is very strong on showing us how brain development in the first couple of years develops in response to activity and experience. In other words, experience basically determines brain circuitry. And that's hard science at this point. And so all these influences that are coming into children's lives early on are very serious, and they're laying the foundation for how they see the world and their capacities to think and to problem solve and to relate and have emotional connection. So we have to find ways if we can speak out and join up somehow with other organizations and get that advertising out of the lives of young children, it's going to have a very significant influence on social change. And the other is to have regulations that prohibit toys and products that are directly tied to TV. That might sound radical, but it existed before 1984. And also, I say ban action figures, toys, and products that are linked to movies rated for older viewers. I liked the way CCFC did it too in the letter, the Transformers letter, which was a variation of that. I'll take either one. Calling for toys to carry age recommendations consistent with a movie rating. That's good too. But either one of those also seems to me doable. If you can make the arguments that children, it's very evident that if you rate a movie PG-13 because the material is not appropriate for little kids, that's a no-brainer that you shouldn't be marketing toys to them and products to them which make them think the movie is for them and also confuse their parents. There are huge money and power interests in our capitalist society that are working against these regulations even getting discussed. It is discouraging that it's an election year and we don't hear these issues even out there in the public discourse. Forbes magazine had an article in December on the 400 wealthiest people in the US, and they had George Lucas there. And they said that the combined box office sales for all Star Wars movies, for the history of all Star Wars movies, was a little more than $4 billion. And the combined sales for all of the toys and merchandise directly linked to Star Wars movies, you want to guess? 12 billion, more than 12 billion, a little more, like 12.3 and that kind of thing. But there's that much money to be made from the products that are linked to the media, the merchandise that's linked to the media. And so that's one, and of course there's a huge amount of profit sharing. The people link up, and the media companies with the toy companies and so forth, and share profits, and through licensing share profits. So the other force that's hard to go against, but I think we can, someone can, maybe I won't be alive then, but somebody can, is the whole idea of self-regulation in all the industries, but the one I know the best is the film industry. Of course they want self-regulation. Oh, wow, time flies. Okay, they want self-regulation because it serves their interests, and they want the most lenient rating, obviously, and they want the little kids to come because they want the box office sales, and I mean, what can I say? It's a system based on profit. So I'm speeding up now, but given everything I'm saying, that I think parents are in a hostile culture and they do have to fight it, and I sat with them in tearful moments when I see what they go through doing it. At the same time, I know that parents can take many steps and do many things. I see parents in the line going into the Star Wars Return of the, is it Sith or Stiff? I can never remember. But the line is full of parents going there. My own, what I'm saying is I see parents doing many things that are part of the problem. And I don't want to actually dichotomize things by saying the whole problem is out there and parents can't do anything, because I know they can. And there are a huge number of things parents can do. And